Hey geeks, it's Minx, and it's that time again. It's time for another Game of Thrones review, episode 5 of season 7. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it on HBO.com or on demand or something. Whatever you got, just watch this episode. It was amazing! Each episode so far this season has been freaking out of the park, crazy. I love this show so much. You have no idea how in love with this season I am. So none of the episodes so far have been boring. There's always exciting stuff going on in them. So let's just go ahead and jump into it with a few of my favorite parts of this particular episode. Dany gives the what's left of the Lannister army a choice. You either bend the knee or you die. And of course, being a stubborn old git, Randall Tarley's like, you're not my queen, so I'm not gonna bow to you. And Dickon, like an idiot, follows his father's choice, pretty much destroying the Tarley line other than Samwell, who doesn't even know that they're dead yet. They get roasted by Drogon, and at that moment, every other person who wasn't bending a knee bent the knee, because they didn't want to die that way. So she's giving a tidbit of her power that she has right now. You know, she's got dragons. The episode itself actually starts off the way it ended last week, by Bronn pulling Jaime out of the water and them washing up on shore a little ways away. You know, far enough away that they're not going to be found, apparently. And they have a discussion, and, you know, pretty much, you know, he's like, she's got 3 of them, and Bronn's like, yep, you're fucked. Bronn was pretty much a plot device in this episode. One of the things I really liked about this episode was that there was a lot of subtlety underneath some of the more complex moments. We finally got to see Jon touch a dragon with his bare hands. Drogon came up. Jon showed no fear. He pulled off his glove and reached out and managed to touch Drogon. And Drogon kind of like leaned into it, and it zeroed in on Drogon's eye, and it did that like kind of cat slow blink thing with its third eyelid. And the look on Dany's face, and this is when I'm talking about the subtlety of certain things, the look on Dany's face was surprised, but like pleased at the same time. Kind of like, okay, so he gets the dragons. The dragons aren't, you know, like, he's cool with the dragons, you know. Which will lead me to my question for you guys at the end of the video, because I've always got to have something like that. So we finally get him touching the dragons. It's another example of him being a Targaryen. A bigger example is at the Citadel. They've received word from Bran that the Night's King is marching on Eastwatch by the sea. You know, the army of the dead, of course, they're kind of like, haha, we think this is just a ploy from the Queen of Dragons. We're not going to take this seriously, even though Sam's like, you know, I've had enough. I've actually seen it. It's true. Y'all need to tell people that they need to get their shit together, you know, and then they tell him to go scribe more stuff, copy down more notes and all this other bullshit. Pretty much being mean to Sam. And Sam decides he's had enough. He's done with this maester shit. And he goes and he steals a couple of books from the restricted section and packs up Gilly and Little Sam and just fucking heads out. You know, and Gilly's like, well, you know, why? This was your dream to become a maester. And he says, you know what? I'm tired of reading, you know, about better men than I. So I don't know if he's going to be heading for Winterfell, if he's going to head back to Castle Black. I'm not sure exactly where his path is going to take him. but hopefully he'll be reunited with Jon, um, and we can get some more exposition. Now, before he decided that he was done, and he's scribing some stuff, looks like Gilly's been learning how to read, and she reads the biggest piece of news that anyone could have, okay, that I wish Sam hadn't have cut her off when she was talking about it, pretty much saying that Rhaegar had his marriage annulled from Elia Martell and remarried in secret. They don't give a name, but you know who it is. It's gotta be Lyanna Stark. Holy shit. That means Jon is not a bastard. He is actually a full Targaryen. Which makes the scene with him touching Drogon on the face even more poignant. They do this to us and they don't give us the payoff. I want the payoff, damn it. I want the payoff for that storyline so bad. So bad. We get Jorah Mormont coming to Dragonstone, telling Daenerys, you know, I'm healed. Let me serve you. She's super excited. She gives him a hug. Jon kind of squints his eyes a little bit, but he's like, you know, kind of like whatever. And then later on, you have them, you know, coming up with a plan to try and get to capture one of the whites, to bring it south of the wall, to show off this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with walking dead people who want to kill us. We all need to band together to fight them. You know, they're trying to come up with this plan, and Jon's like, I gotta go, and I have to be the one to do this. And Daenerys, she's got this look on her face. Again, it's that subtlety. It's, you know, the acting with the facial expressions, which was really good throughout this entire episode with multiple characters. And she's like, well, I haven't agreed to let you go yet. I haven't allowed you to leave yet. And Jon turns around, turns to her, and he looks at her, and he goes, well, I don't really need your, you know, I am a king. I don't really need your permission to leave. You know, I am a king. And the looks that they share suggest that there is a mutual respect building, but also an intrigue kind of building between them, because Dany is definitely intrigued by Jon, and kind of, she gets that look that people get when they're kind of crushing on somebody, but they don't really want to admit it. And to be honest, I think Jon's a little intrigued by her as well. So we'll see what happens there. Jorah volunteers to go so he can better serve Daenerys. They end up going up to Eastwatch by the Sea, and meeting with Tormund, and Tormund actually asks about Brienne of Tarth, which is adorable, and actually makes Jon laugh a little bit. They find that in the cells of Eastwatch, they have Beric Dondarrion, Thoros of Myr, and the Hound just kind of chilling, waiting to go beyond the wall. So they all get together and they all go behind the wall. Back in King's Landing, you've got Cersei being a know-it-all, nosy bitch, as usual. She's knows that Jaime spoke to Tyrion, and that Tyrion said that they want an armistice, and that there's a war against the dead people. And Cersei, of course, isn't buying any of this shit. You know, she's being stubborn. She's not buying any of it. And then reveals to Jaime that she's pregnant. And he's kind of like, well, who are you gonna say is the father? You know, because she's not married at this point. And his face is kind of, you know, again, subtlety with the facial expressions. Nikolai is really good at doing facial expressions for Jaime. And she's like, well, you. And he goes, people aren't going to like that. And she's like, well, what did father say about people? And he says, the lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the lamb, or something roughly about that. And he kisses her and then he hugs her, and as he's hugging her, she's like, "Don't betray me ever again." And he's just kind of like, "What?" Like, his face just kind of screws up a little bit, and it's drawing closer. I feel like Cersei's true end is drawing closer. We know from Maggie the Frog that she's only supposed to have 3 kids. Um, so, I don't think this pregnancy is gonna last very long. She's either gonna die before this happens, or she'll miscarry, or something equally disturbing is going to happen, and Jaime will be heartbroken. I still believe that Jaime is gonna be the one to kill her ultimately, because she's going Mad Queen on everybody. So there's that. That's your review for this week. Let me know down below how you felt about it. Did you enjoy this episode as much as I did? Because holy crap, I thought it was great. I gave it an A- for sure. And my question to you guys: what dragon do you think Jon Snow is going to ride? Do you think he's going to ride Viserion, the white dragon, which would match Ghost, who is the white wolf, and coincidentally Jon's nickname, the White Wolf? Or do you think he's going to ride Rhaegal, who's named after his father, Rhaegar Targaryen? Let me know in the comments down below. I love talking about my favorite show. And I will see you next week for next week's episode. Later, geeks.